Hello and welcome. I'm Sam, and today I'm joined by Helen, and together we're going to discuss how to speak English fluency. Helen, it's so great to have you here today. How have you been these days?
Hi, Sam. I'm doing very well. Thank you. How about you? Everything going well?
Yeah, everything's going smoothly, thanks. I've been thinking a lot about language learning lately. And today's topic is very close to my heart: how to speak English fluently.
Oh, yes. That's such an important topic. Many people who are learning English say, I want to speak fluently, but they're not always sure how to get there.
Exactly. A lot of learners feel stuck. They know many words, maybe they understand grammar, but they can't speak smoothly. That's why fluency is such an interesting goal. So let's start from the beginning. What do you think fluency means?
For me, fluency means speaking in a natural and smooth way without having to stop and think too much about every word. It's about being able to express your thoughts comfortably.
Yes, I completely agree. I think fluency doesn't mean speaking without mistakes. It just means you can keep the conversation going and the other person understands you. Right? The main goal is communication. If you can share your ideas clearly and people understand you, then you're already doing well. So, how do we get there? How do we move from knowing words to speaking fluently?
Exactly. A lot of learners think they need to speak like a native speaker to be fluent, but that's not true. You can be fluent and still have an accent or make small mistakes. Well, one big thing is practice, real speaking practice. Not just writing or reading, but actually talking. A lot of learners don't practice speaking enough.
Totally. And sometimes people say, but I have no one to practice with. That can make it harder, but it's still possible to practice. I used to speak to myself when I was learning Spanish. I'd walk around the house and describe what I was doing. I am opening the window. I am washing the dishes, things like that.
I do the same thing. Sometimes I even look in the mirror and pretend I'm having a conversation. I ask myself questions and answer them. It sounds funny, but it really helps build confidence.
Exactly. And confidence is key. If you don't feel confident, you won't speak much, and that stops your progress.
And another thing that really helps is thinking in English. I try not to translate in my head. I think in English about my day, about what I'm doing, or even about my plans.
That's a great habit. At first, it's difficult, right? Because you want to go back to your native language. But over time, your brain gets used to English.
Yes, and you start to feel more natural. Another useful tip is learning phrases, not just individual words.
I couldn't agree more. Phrases are like ready-made building blocks. Instead of learning just go, you learn go for a walk, go shopping, or go to the gym. These are things people say every day.
Exactly. And when you learn phrases, you speak more fluently because you don't have to stop and think about grammar so much. You already have the full chunk ready.
Yes, and you also sound more natural that way. So Helen, how do you learn new phrases?
Well, I usually learn them from listening, podcasts, TV shows, or even songs. When I hear a useful sentence, I write it down in my notebook with the meaning and a few examples.
I do something similar. I also try to use the new phrase a few times during the week. If I learn, I'm not sure, I try to say it when I'm talking to people or even in my head.
That's smart. And speaking of listening, I think listening is so important for fluency.
Absolutely. The more you listen, the more your brain understands the rhythm and music of the language. You start to hear which words go together and how sentences flow.
Yes, and it's not just about understanding. It helps you speak better too. I like to watch videos with subtitles first, then without subtitles. Sometimes I even pause the video and repeat what the speaker said.
That's called shadowing. It's a great technique. You repeat what you hear, trying to match the speed and tone. It feels a bit hard in the beginning, but it really builds fluency.
I know. And it improves pronunciation too. Sometimes I also record my voice and compare it to the original speaker.
Oh, that's a great idea. You can really hear your progress over time. I did that once a week, and after a few months, I was surprised at how much better I sounded.
Same here. I think the key is not being afraid to speak. Many learners wait until they are ready, but the truth is, you get ready by doing it.
Exactly. You have to make mistakes. That's how we learn.
And most people don't care if you make a mistake. They're happy you're trying.
Yes, people appreciate the effort. And if you speak slowly but clearly, they will understand you.
Totally. It's not about speaking fast. It's about speaking clearly and with confidence.
Another fun way to practice fluency is using role plays or conversations. I sometimes act out scenes from movies or order food like I'm at a restaurant.
That's fun. I do that with a friend. We pretend we're in a cafe or booking a hotel room. It's like practice, but it feels more like a game.
Exactly. The more fun you make it, the more you'll want to do it. And the more you do it, the more fluent you become.
And what about reading? Does it help with fluency too?
Definitely. Reading helps you see how sentences are structured. And if you read out loud, it helps with speaking too.
That's true. I read short stories and news articles, and sometimes I underline phrases I want to remember.
That's a good strategy. And when you use those phrases later in speaking, they come out naturally.
Exactly. It all works together. Reading, listening, speaking, and writing.
So, Helen, let's give our listeners a few final tips for speaking fluently. What would you say are the top 5 tips?
Okay, here are mine. Speak a little English every day, even if it's to yourself. Don't be afraid of mistakes. They help you learn. Learn phrases and chunks, not just single words. Listen a lot and repeat what you hear. Think in English as much as you can. And if I can add just a bit more, don't rush yourself. Everyone learns at their own pace. It's not a race. Some people learn fast, some need more time, and that's totally okay. The most important thing is to keep going. Keep learning, keep practicing. If you miss a day, no problem. Just try again tomorrow. Fluency is a journey, not a destination.
Great list. I'd add one more. Have fun with English. Watch shows you enjoy, talk about things you love, and celebrate your progress.
Yes. Enjoy the journey. Fluency doesn't come in one day, but it will come if you keep going.
That's so true. Keep practicing and don't give up.
Thanks, Sam. This was a really great talk. You know, it always helps to say these things out loud. It reminds me of my own learning journey. I remember feeling nervous at first, thinking people would laugh if I made a mistake. But the more I practiced, the more I realized that mistakes are just steps forward. And now, talking about fluency with you makes me feel even more motivated to keep learning and helping others too.
Thank you, Helen. And to everyone listening, keep speaking, keep learning, and remember, your voice matters.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us today, and thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Until next time, if you enjoyed the video and want to see more content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. You can also turn on notifications to stay updated with our latest videos. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.